I found her in the corner of the wooden house, sitting on the floor, staring at the wall. She wasn't blinking. Her lips were moving like she was whispering to someone I couldn't see. It started 3 days earlier. My cousin, Zama, went missing during a family gathering in our village. She was only 14. We were all playing outside, running near the edge of the bush, when she vanished. 1 second, she was laughing with us. The next, she was gone. At first, we thought she'd gone back to the house, but when we checked, she wasn't there. We called her name, but the forest swallowed our voices. By the time the sun set, the whole village was out searching for her. The elders warned us not to go too deep into the woods, especially near the old wooden house. They said it belonged to Inzunza, the spirit of forgotten children. It's just a story, they said, to scare kids into staying close to home. But the way they looked at each other made me think there was more to it. By the second night, people were whispering that Zama had wandered to the house. No one wanted to go there, but I couldn't leave her out there alone. So I went. Alone. The house wasn't hard to find. It stood crooked in the middle of a clearing, its wooden walls gray and splintered like old bones. It shouldn't have been there. I'd been in those woods before and never seen it. The door was slightly open, like it was waiting for me. Inside, it smelled like damp earth and something rotten. The floor creaked under my feet, and I kept telling myself it was just an old house, just wood and nails. But the deeper I went, the colder it got, like the air was being sucked out. Then I saw her. She was sitting on the floor, her back to me, in the corner of a room with no windows. Her clothes were dirty, and her hair was tangled with leaves. I called her name, but she didn't respond. When I stepped closer, I heard it, a faint whisper, like someone talking just behind my ear, but there was no one else there. I reached out to touch her shoulder, and she turned to look at me. Her eyes were wrong. They were too wide, too black, like they'd swallowed all the light in the room. She smiled at me, but it wasn't her smile. It was too big, too sharp, like she'd forgotten how to be human. "I can't leave," she said, her voice low and hollow. "They won't let me." Before I could say anything, the floor beneath her shifted, like something was moving under the wood. The whispers grew louder, and I felt cold fingers brush against my arm. I grabbed her hand and pulled. She screamed, not in fear, but in anger, like I was tearing her away from something she wanted. The floor groaned, and I didn't look back. We ran. When we got back to the village, she wouldn't talk about what happened. She just stared at the ground, her lips moving like she was still whispering to someone. That night, I dreamed of the house. I could hear the whispers, calling my name. Zama doesn't go near the woods anymore. Neither do I, but sometimes when the wind blows just right, I hear the whispers again, and I know the house is still waiting.